On Saturday night, Nigel Farage and the Reform Party came out swinging with a bunch of manifesto promises that I think is going to absolutely terrify the Labour and Tory parties. Here's the highlight.
And a Reform government will leave the European Court of Human Rights. We will get rid of the Human Rights Act upon which British lefty judges depend. Nobody that comes into our country on the back of a lorry or via a boat will ever be given refugee status, will ever be given leave to remain. Nobody. Nobody. It is unfair, it is wrong, it is also deeply unfair to those who have come here legally, and that's worth thinking about. And let me tell you, everyone that comes illegally will be deported, full stop, end of story. And the same goes for foreign criminals. I am sick to death of Article 8 of the Human Rights Act being allowed for people to stay here who've committed heinous crimes because they have a right to a family life. They've no right to a family life in our country. If they've come here illegally and they committed crime, they have no right at all. None. Zero.
Well, there you have it. So, a specific battle line has been drawn by Mr. Farage and the Reform Party there. There's been a lot of talk in the last few weeks of Rupert Lowe and Ben Habib coming out wanting to jump in to this inquiry, and I'm not going to put them down if that's what they want to do. But what Nigel's essentially done there is he's just pushed them off to one side. I think what we're going to see now with Mr. Lowe and Mr. Habib, we're either going to see them drift off and possibly even see Rupert Lowe try and jump into the Tory party. Possibly a reconciliation might be on the cards, which is further going to boost things. I don't know what's going to happen. But regardless of that, Nigel put that issue to bed. He also issued a challenge to the Labour Party and the Tory party there. It was quite straightforward. You saw the response that the crowd gave him there. That is what people want to hear. What they want to hear is this. They want to hear we're leaving the ECHR. They want to hear that we're deporting people who arrive here illegally. They wanted to hear that if you're an illegal or you've just come to this country and you've committed a crime, a heinous crime, as he said, you'll be deported. So no more foreign criminals languishing in jail to be let out. That's gone. And this there is a direct challenge for the right of politics, because for the past couple of weeks, Kemi Badenoch has been lounging in the spotlight talking about net zero. And this is a talking point on the right, the net zero. Of course it is. But what Nigel Farage done a little bit after this, he just said, we're going to be scrapping net zero. So what he's done there is he's just removed all of the traction that Kemi Badenoch's just had, and he's just pushed it off to the side. It was a really good stroke to come out and just deliver this message right when he did. He also said a bunch of other things. He attacked the taxes. So what he came out and said was, if you're making under £20,000 a year, you shouldn't be paying tax. He talked about the amount of millionaires, and he actually quoted the figure that, and there's been a report done on this, that it looks like there's 500,000 rich people due to leave the country by 2028. Scrapping net zero, reindustrialising the economy. He even talked about a British version of Doge to come in and cut 100,000 civil servants, in effect reduce the size of the state. He said two final things which I thought really did bolster the crowd and really were just outstanding announcements. The first one was scrapping the winter fuel allowance. He's going to give that money back to pensioners. And after that, just to put the icing on the cake, he said we're going to be scrapping inheritance tax because it's not fair. You get taxed all your life. Why should you get taxed when you die? Now, these sets of manifesto pledges are what most of the country wants. Labour can tinker around the edges and they can come out with strap lines all they want, as can Kemi Badenoch talking about net zero. But it's not going to make a difference, because if Reform run with these policies, they're going to win the next election. It's as simple as that. There's too many people want to stop this migration lunacy happening now. It's out of hand. The smash the gangs, the Rwanda deals, it's just gone beyond all significance. It's so far out of hand. In the last 8 days, almost 2,000 people have arrived by boat, and this year's set to be a bumper record in terms of small boat crossings. In the last 8 days alone, over the next year, the British taxpayer is going to have to pay £66 million in order to keep the people for 1 year who've arrived in the last 8 days. And this is completely unsustainable. And nobody's doing anything about it. And so what Nigel Farage said was, you come here illegally, you ain't staying, and you're going to be sent back to wherever it is. And that's all people wanted to hear. And unless the Labour Party and Tories is willing to say that, really, there's nothing to stand in Reform's way for the next election. And I'm now fully behind Reform. After that speech, after Nigel confirmed the ECHR, after he confirmed he's going to be deporting illegals, after he confirmed the inheritance tax, winter fuel payments, £20,000 before you pay any tax, this just removes all the issues to do with benefit claimants and actually incentivises work. Scrapping net zero, reindustrialising the country, a British version of Doge. I can see Labour and Tory HQ will be at panic stations. Excellent work, Nigel. Excellent work, Reform. I'm now fully behind Reform. And I hope you are too. We need a change. Thanks very much.